Good morning, everyone. This is I'm actually, before I start saying anything, I want to say how grateful I am to be among everyone here in the room. I was actually expecting a conference that would be small in size, but from the poster outside, and I say, this is going to be a large conference, and I see there's a lot of good people participating. Like Dr. Sunil said, the idea of the conference came in DC last September, and this is where it is leading up to. I am glad to be participating, and I'm glad to be among the people that I would be calling peers in the future years to come. This conference is analyzing India as a world power, and there should not be any doubt that India is already a world power, and this is a position it's been playing for many years. And I do believe some countries are powerful, but they probably just don't play that role, and India has that posture. It is a powerful country, but it doesn't play that role. Which is in all a good thing, but the global politics and global economy has been changing, and analyzing it greatly is something for people that are concerned would be important. When we talk about Asian politics, the Indian Ocean, and balancing forces, there are three things that are, to me, that come to mind. I do see the Asian politics as being agents in the region. The agents meaning you do have all the countries that make up the whole regions. You do have China, for example. You do have Thailand. You do have Myanmar. You do have Bhutan. You do have Bangladesh. All these countries, Pakistan. They have agents of the regions. And the Indian Ocean being the structures of what make up the regional powers. Is the Indian Ocean something that is so special to India, or can India take or manage that area? And I think that is something that is important for India as we imagine India as a world power. For my analysis, the Indian Ocean still lacks maybe regional organization or initiative from a good powers like India. China has the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The Indian Ocean may be some things that India can have itself. There we do have a lot of countries that make up that region. It would be good to see India manage the region. Balancing forces, it is on something that is of resiliency. How resilient would India as a power be if indeed was to play that role? Those balancing forces. Would it be managing smaller countries in the neighborhood of India? Or would it be looking inside to see whether the system is robust enough? And this is the debate on people that study complex systems. If India as a major power is a complex system, I do think the robustness would be important in knowing the unknowns that can come with it. I would not say a lot because I do see there's a lot of important people here, so I'm going to try to defer. I would end by saying I am really thankful to Dr. Sunil for really accepting to have this conference here. And from past emails, he's said this would be a yearly theme conference, and I agree with him because you can't just do this conference once and stop there. It is a conference you probably want to do multiple time and get something out of it. So I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to a good conference from everybody. So Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Babu. Now request the Chief Guest to share his views on the subject.
Mr. Ajit Dawar and Dr. Sondi, our friends from friendly countries, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me this honor to talk on this very important subject. And looking at the list of speakers now and subsequently in the later part of the day, I am indeed humbled by your choice. I am also very happy that we have amongst us here Mr. Doval, who is a very esteemed erstwhile colleague. We have had the pleasure of serving together, and who is now director of a very credible think tank in Delhi. It will be very interesting to hear his views. To do justice to the topic of the day, I think we need to answer three questions. Those are: will India become a world power? Will India establish global supremacy? And will India be a responsible power? Well, I'd like to deal with this subject in five distinct parts. Firstly, what are our interests? What denotes national power really? The third is the world situation, especially as it relates to us. And how have we done so far? And what is the road ahead? Firstly, we look at the interest which we have, and in that, what is most important is as to which way and how we want to move forward as a country. And there is no denying the fact that we have come a long, long way since 1947 when we gained our independence. But be that it may be, India today stands at a very pivotal moment in the history. The extraordinary changes of the last 2 decades are fundamentally transforming India's economy and society. And these changes, for the first time in the history, created the possibility that India can become a reasonably prosperous and equitable society. Now, given the size of our country and the consequent scale, India's success will leave an extraordinary footprint because of the sheer volume of it on the world and define future possibilities for the humankind. So not only that it relates to us, but it affects the entire world as to which way and how do we move further. The fundamental source of India's power in the world is going to be the power of its example. If India can maintain high growth rates, leverage that growth to enhance the capabilities of its citizens, and maintain robust democratic conditions and institutions, there will be no limits to India's global role and influence. The foundation of India's success, therefore, will depend largely on its development model. If our development model proves to be successful, it will give us greater legitimacy in the world, and there are any number of the countries in the world who will be waiting to emulate that particular system. Now, this has two implications for our approach to strategy. Firstly, under no circumstances should we jeopardize, and that is most important, our own domestic economic growth, its social inclusion, equally important, and its political democracy. Its approach to the outside world must be to secure maximum possible space for itself for its own economic growth. The second and perhaps equally important is the need for India to ensure its defense potential, because it is important that we are so strong that no country in the world is able to interfere with our affairs and also mess with our countries. And that is very important, and I would like to put emphasis on that for the reason that I am a uniformed man, a strong uniformed man, that defense must remain one constant factor commensurate to our strategic needs. If you are strong, you can move on the path of your improvement, on the path of your growth, in the world without any, any risk coming to this particular direction. So our primary task for the time being now and the foreseeable future will be to transform and improve the lives of unacceptably large number of our compatriots who live in poverty with disease, hunger and illiteracy. And our quest should remain towards the transformation of India, nothing less or more at this stage. And if we have to do that, we have to avoid external events, and our overriding priority must be to ensure that we can move in the path of this pursuit. But unfortunately in the world, nothing runs along a straight and a simple path. A most peace-loving country like India has gone through 5 wars since 1947 in 65 years of our independence. And since 1980 onwards, besides the 5 wars which we have seen, Kargil war of course happened after that, we have also the victims of proxy war launched on us as a strategy by our neighbors. And that I am referring to the instances in Punjab, the J&K is an ongoing problem, and of late Naxalism and the other things which have also been thrust on us, and that has been again for quite a while. And our security experts in the country, of which there are of course unlimited numbers from the non-uniform fraternity, and so they are welcome also, because they bring a fresh mind to the subject. They feel that we have attained strategic autonomy because we have developed the nuclear weapons. But unfortunately that's not very true, because nuclear weapons are not the weapons of war. You've got to have a very strong potential in your conventional preparedness, because this is what the weapon system which shall be used in any future conflict with anyone else. Nuclear weapons are only for mass destruction, and that is not the aim of anyone who's fighting the kind of wars which we may be involved in. Subsequently, if it at all happens, for the purposes which are totally different, and not to inflict the kind of destruction which happened because of the nuclear weapons used one side here. So we got to take care of that particular part, and unfortunately that's what perhaps in this country is escaping the minds of most of the people who are planning the strategy and the security aspects of the country. And as far as our growth is concerned and our interests are concerned, the last aspect which is very important for us is to ensure that we have a very deepened economic engagement with the outside world at all levels: trade, labor, technology and ideas. And therefore we have to maintain and strive for an open global order at different levels. Having seen this part, now let us see what denotes really international power. This particular aspect is a subject of study in itself. So very briefly, the factors which are generally being considered relevant to this aspect are the geography of our country, the natural resources, working population, military strength, economic development, scientific and